And what did you make of Sophie Cunningham's flagrant foul on JC towards the end?
It was a flagrant foul.
I think it's like defending the team, or how do you view this? How
I view it as a flagrant foul.
Yeah, well, I mean, you guys came for basketball.
Yeah,
Let's
no,
talk
serious.
about basketball.
Yeah.
Come on now.
What do you think of just how you all were able to pull in the second half, Caitlin in
We're
particular?
going to the Commissioner Cup Championship.
Let's
That's
go!
pretty exciting. Y'all want to talk about that? Let's talk about that.
What do you think, again, in the second half?
The WNBA is on the verge of destroying its own existence. Its biggest star, Caitlin Clark, is reportedly at a breaking point, and rumors that she is leaving are getting louder every day. This isn't just about rookie hazing. It's a tale of on-court assaults that officials have ignored, a jealous league that resents its own savior, and a media that places the blame on the victim. Now, a startling rumor is circulating that Clark is planning an escape, a power move so defiant that it could reveal the WNBA's most serious shortcomings and leave the league vying for the very attention she single-handedly delivered to the WNBA record.
WNBA record? This is her second season. And you put the numbers together, that's like 10 seasons. That girl did it in 10 seasons. That means she had won a season. Caitlin Clark is... when Caitlin Clark gets to 10 seasons, she's going to have 100 of these. And y'all can't get a girl her roses. Now, I don't like the fact that she be getting woke because she don't want all these lesbians to be mad at it. At the end of the day, is the woman putting in the work, she's putting in the work.
You must first comprehend the enormity of her impact in order to comprehend why leaving is even a possibility. The statistics don't only convey a tale, they shout it from the rooftops before we're talking about a one-woman economic stimulus package. Prior to Caitlin Clark, the WNBA was a fringe league vying for airtime. After her arrival, it became appointment television. Not only in her hometown of Indiana, but in every location she played, arenas that had previously had seas of vacant seats were now sold out. In order to accommodate the surge of title fans who came to watch her play, competing teams moved their games to larger NBA venues.
This is all going according to plan. This is ideal. Caitlin Clark is holding up her end by being awesome and by being a trash-talking jerk on the court. Love it. Her teammates are holding up their end by having her back. The other players in the league are holding up their end by not liking her. Perfect. Couldn't have written a better script. Caitlin is talking trash to this girl's hard fouling her. Her teammate Sophie Cunningham, who got a black belt in Taekwondo at the age of 6, she's like, I will F you guys up. All of it's great, and Caitlin's a killer. 10 out of 10.
When her jersey was released, it became the best-selling item of any athlete in any sport, and the league's viewership on major networks soared by triple digits. However, the most damning evidence was when she was briefly sidelined due to an injury. The WNBA's viewership immediately fell by a staggering 55%. When you think about it, one player sits out, and more than half of the league's entire television audience disappears. This wasn't a team player. She was the market as a whole, funding her own opposition and paying the salaries of the very players who appear to be upset with her for it.
Caitlin Clark is driving the WNBA insane. It's to the point that she may need to step away from the WNBA, have a billionaire come in that has the money to prove a point, and say, Caitlin, I'll pay you $50 million just to see if the WNBA can make it without you. Let's go create a completely different league and expose the hell out of the WNBA just to embarrass this Angel Reese girl that Jameel Hill just said she could go down as a Michael Jordan of WNBA.
Yeah.
For all the money and attention she brought, her league debut felt more like a back alley ambush than a red carpet. It soon became apparent that opponents had one main defensive strategy: see how much physical abuse she could take before breaking. This wasn't just tough physical basketball, it was a targeted campaign, with each game featuring a highlight reel of aggressive closeouts and hip checks off balls that bordered on outright assault. The highlight of this was Marina Mabrey's famous shove.
Well, I will say this, when Caitlin Clark was out, they lost 55% of their viewership. So, basically, Caitlin Clark is paying all their salaries.
Pretty much.
I mean, at the end of the day, you can hate her as much as you want, but she's brought in millions of fucking dollars. So you should be kissing her ass.
And that kind of defeated the purpose of Angel Reese's argument of she's like, hey, it's not just Caitlin Clark that is bringing all the viewership to the WNBA. It's like, well, it definitely is. It's like it kind of proved that with the viewership rating being down that she significantly increases viewership.
They try so hard to compare her to Caitlin Clark. They try. So
Clark's response was the most infuriating thing to her critics throughout it all. She didn't retaliate or complain. Instead, she simply got back up, dusted herself off, and returned to work. Her calm wasn't seen as professionalism. Rather, it was seen as arrogance, which only fueled the fire and made the next hit even harder. The message was clear: you won't outshine us, and if we can't stop you with skill, we'll try to stop you with force.
The Fever and Sun hold a brawl and a basketball game breaks out. This was something. Caitlin Clark, without question, gets raked across the face. I think she gets poked in the eye, but it's difficult to tell.
If you're the Indiana Fever, you cannot stand by and let that happen. They need to make it clear to the officials. If you're going to let this happen, then we're going to stand up for our player and make a mess of the game, and you're going to have a big mess on your hands. So you need to stand up for this. You need to do something about this.
You've just learned with definitive data and beyond question that Caitlin Clark controls more than half the audience for the entire WNBA.
The WNBA front office, the very organization that should have been protecting its golden goose, remained eerily silent and was quicker to comment on dress code violations than on the systematic targeting of their biggest star. However, the hits on the court were only part of the story, because the people paid to enforce the rules were nowhere to be found while Caitlin was being treated like a human piñata. The referees also appeared to be looking the other way, seemingly losing their whistles as blatant aggressive fouls were ignored or referred to as common fouls, sending a clear message to the rest of the league.
A lot of us were expecting some sort of dip since Caitlin Clark has been out with injury, but I don't think all of us were expecting the entire viewership of the entire WNBA to be down. And this tweet from Christine Brennan really stuck out to me. She said one player gets injured and more than half the TV audience for the entire league disappears. Has any other athlete ever had that kind of impact on a sport? Golf without Tiger definitely dropped precipitously on occasion, but not like this. This news is alarming for the league, and it's alarming for the league because this is such a crucial year for the WNBA.
This confusion and action led to the creation of a fan-led online campaign called Protect Caitlin Clark. Viewers turned into amateur forensic analysts, rewatching slow-motion clips of her circling illegal screens and screaming into the digital void for a flagrant foul that would never come. It revealed a profoundly unsettling hypocrisy at the WNBA's core. They wanted her marketing power, ticket sales, and TV ratings, but they refused to provide her with the same basic protections as other players. This failure wasn't just incompetent. It felt like a tacit approval of the on-court hazing.
I am sick and tired of the way they are treating my girl, Caitlin Clark. I am here to propose a solution. I think they need an enforcer. You know, someone who comes off the bench to kind of lay the smackdown on an opposing team member. I want to get the word out to the Indiana Fever that I am available. I'm ready to identify as whatever I need to in order to get the job. They need someone like me. Why? Because I'm not afraid of any 6-foot tall left. I work out. Now, I have a couple of real good go-to moves in my bag of tricks.
As if the situation couldn't get any more ridiculous, the media intervened to point the finger at the victim rather than pointing out the risky actions, and a strange storyline among talking heads and sports pundits started to emerge. This argument is so utterly flawed that it's difficult to know where to start. We're talking about professional sports, a world based on ego competition and psychological warfare, and they claimed that Caitlin was to blame for the aggression because she was too self-assured and engaged in trash talk. Before the game ever began, Larry Bird made a living by mentally shredding opponents. Michael Jordan was a notorious trash talker.
Oh, is this shit I don't like? A snitch, nigga, it's that shit I don't like. Oh,
you know, they get into it a bit here. Lexi Holdown gets it.
Oh, bitch, nigga.
Sheldon's face. Caitlin Clark hits the deck.
Sneak decides that's that shit I don't like.
Sheldon and Cunningham are getting into
it. A snitch, nigga, that's the shit I like.
Caitlin Clark with a few words with JC Shattuck.
The WNBA's message was twisted and clear. If you are a confident woman who backs it up, you deserve whatever comes your way. Their antics are celebrated and immortalized as part of their competitive fire, but when Caitlin Clark does it, she's suddenly violating some unwritten rule that invites physical retaliation. The fans found it infuriating to watch commentators go to great lengths to justify a violent shove, analyzing Caitlin's posture or attitude, as if she was somehow asking for it.
Caitlin Clark has decided to quit the WNBA and move on and go play over in Europe. I do not blame her. I applaud it. I say do it. Get as far away from the WNBA as you can. Let that league sink. Okay? Do not help them, Caitlin. Get away. I believe you could create your own league. Okay? You could be the fucking player that creates whatever, the next professional women's basketball league. Let this one just go and let Caitlin try to build the next WNBA.
It was a strange, self-defeating crusade by some players who felt Clark hadn't earned her stripes and earned what she was already, the most famous and influential player in the league, bringing more attention and money to the WNBA in a few months than some franchises had in decades. The resentment was palpable as players who had been fighting for recognition for years suddenly found themselves as supporting characters in the Caitlin Clark show, and they didn't like it. However, this toxic environment faction of players appeared more dedicated to putting the new star in her place than to taking advantage of the once-in-a-generation opportunity she represented. They were so preoccupied with who the queen of the court was that they failed to realize the entire kingdom was on the verge of collapsing without her. The rivalry with Angel Ree and others was frequently brought up, but it was only one symptom of a much larger illness.
I want to get your opinion because it's been a minute on this Angel Ree's Caitlin Clark stuff that's been going on. Brittany Griner a couple of weeks ago in a video says trash effing white girl when she was playing Caitlin Clark. What's your just kind of 30,000 foot view of this?
There is not an organization more dedicated and committed to self-imploding than the WNBA. The WNBA was like handed the golden egg that is Caitlin Clark. Yeah. And they have done everything to just self-destruct. Yeah. Whether it's these totally crazy like racial investigations that have been proven a hoax.
This leads us back to the unimaginable rumor that she might leave. And it is at this point that the narrative intriguingly shifts from one of abuse to one of final retaliation. The first is the European escape, where she could sign a multi-million-dollar contract abroad where women's basketball players are frequently treated with greater respect and reverence. She would be paid handsomely, protected by the league, and free from the high school drama and political infighting of the WNBA. These are the two main scenarios that speculative fans and analysts have put forth. Even more dramatic is the second possibility. According to the billionaire's gambit theory, a wealthy investor who notices the WNBA's self-defeating behavior might approach Clark and make the startling offer, "I'll pay you $50 million to sit out and prove the WNBA cannot survive without you." Or, better yet, "I'll fund an entirely new rival league with Clark as its face." This would be the most disruptive move in modern sports history, a direct challenge that would reveal the WNBA's weakness and possibly establish a new empire on its ruins.
Caitlin Clark did her thing. Coming off of the injury, she returned for the Fever, and I swear I am not being hyperbolic. We were immediately gifted one of the greatest halves we have ever seen in the WNBA, and I say that with all context involved. This series from Caitlin Clark, the pull-up three here, and you are about to see back-to-back-to-back triples for Caitlin Clark in this game. I am not trying to erase the things we have seen from Maya Moore, from Diana Taurasi, Asia Wilson's 53-point game, Stewie, Cynthia Cooper. Like, we have seen incredible halves of basketball, but you see Caitlin Clark coming off of that made three from the Liberty. Pull up, of course. She's making it in that moment.
Let's discuss the alleged rivalry that some athletes and the media have frantically attempted to create. Every great sport has its own historical rivalries. Magic versus Bird, Federer, and Nadal were based on intense respect for one another. But what's going on with Caitlin Clark isn't a rivalry. Rather, it's a one-sided obsession. The whole charade was revealed when Angel Reese gave Clark a flagrant foul to the head and was later spotted being praised by her teammates on the bench. This was about hostility rather than competition. Although genuine rivals encourage one another to improve, they fight on the court and frequently recognize one another's brilliance off it. This narrative is different because it serves as an excuse for cheap shots and trivial actions. While some opponents seem more interested in her, Clark seems more intent on playing basketball and winning games. By making it personal, they have devalued the fundamental concept of what a professional sports rivalry should be, transforming it from an engaging drama into a poisonous spectacle. Possibly the most